did you go to school?
What do you think of what's going on right now, mate?
These evil little invisible parasites.
Satan-worshipping Freemason moron.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
We're not run by factions.
Get the fuck out of camera!
There are much more powerful international forces in play.
Is this pink eye? Is this what pink eye is? I don't fucking know what's happening.
Please go outside and look at the me quickly.
It's been crazy, guys, but guess what? It's how it is, mate.
Mate, because I want to do you slowly.
But I ain't spending any time on it.
Welcome to the Conditional Release Program, a podcast that delves into the netherworld of cults, crims, and con artists. I'm Jack the Insider, otherwise known as Peter Hoysted for tax purposes.
And I'm Joel Hill, and it has been a huge week for cookers.
Huge week.
And just the sort of far right in general.
We've got Nazis, folks. Victorian Nazis.
I hate Victorian Nazis.
Yeah, we all hate them, but we don't know how to get rid of them. Maybe Vic Pol have had a change of heart. They went hard on the weekend.
Yeah, they did for a little bit. Big Pol, surprisingly enough, did not take any shit from Nazis, which was very pleasing to see. And on a principle level, but also aesthetically. The video was really quite enjoyable. Good stuff.
It shouldn't be so hard to get rid of Nazis. I mean, they're not good breeders, are you, Nazis? Hitler had only got one ball.
Yeah.
And Himmler had two, but very small. Huh. Breaking the pattern was Gauleiter Joseph Goebbels, who had 6 kids, but in all fairness, he did kill them all.
And in other news, Monica gets off.
By sitting on the washing machine during the spin cycle, Joe.
That was terrible, Jack.
That was terrible, terrible joke, terrible joke.
Terrible.
Sin bin.
Join the Patreon. Well, possibly, but she's leaving, Jack. She's
gone
backpacking.
She's all grown up and she's gone overseas again.
It's a gap year.
She's already had a gap year.
No, it's another gap year. There's so many gaps.
Well, she started out as a bloody travel blogger, didn't she?
Yes, she didn't she? Oh, fuck. That's
just such a really low ambition to have, isn't it?
Oh, we're going to cover Monica in detail. I just know that's coming up. I know that's going to happen. Anyway, looking forward to that. So she was cleared on the COVID charges, more or less. She's sold up everything, whatever she had, and she's moving off to Europe, possibly the drug and sex on premises hellhole that is Amsterdam. Fucking can't stand that place. We just cannot be sure. If you go to Holland, don't go to Amsterdam. Go to Nijmegen, go up north. Just don't go to fucking Amsterdam. Utrecht, so many options. Anyway, what we can be sure of is that Australian beer, for Australian tastes, is better than European beer.
Damn right.
Years ago, we used to have to drink shit like Carlton Draft.
I still do.
I know. Look, he's a relic. It's beautiful. But it made it really pretty tempting to reach for a Beck's or a Stella. But with tins like CB Coast Pacific Pale Ale and this delicious middy I have in my hand here, which, by the way, is only 100 calories when you're watching your waistline, I couldn't give a fuck about European beer. I still like a European lager, I'm lying. But look, I say all this in jest, but kind of. But hey, look, if Stella wants to pay me a shitload of money, I'll sell out in moments. But for now, this CB Code MIDI is fucking delicious.
And I just want to express my deep gratitude to CBC Co for trying to make a beer like Carlton Draft. Well done, guys.
You still have to get them.
Nice try.
I've got to send them to you. I've got like 12 of them now because I'm not drinking them because they're not.
And we have a new sponsor come on board today. Got legal problems up the wazoo? Beg for Balloch.
Oh, that is a great.
He's better than a barrister. Assets are for idiots. And you can be one too by hiring the vast legal mind that is Derek Balloch.
Yeah, I must say, cars, houses, big hassle.
Yeah.
So, look. I'm just saying that I cannot believe that this kind of top-tier quality content is free. I mean, really, the best things in life are ...
Yeah, and in order to keep the Conditional Release Program free, with the exception of 1 or 2 ads from noted pseudo-lawyers, we are asking you listeners to dig, well, you don't have to dig too deep.
Nah, it's not a lot. We've set it to $5 a month. And for as little as $5 a month, you can become a patron of the show.
Simply go to www.patreon.com/the Conditional Release Program, all one word, and get it done. We'll wait quietly here while you do it.
Yes, but we actually have a gun pointed at a bunny rabbit's head, so you might want to hurry up because my finger is itchy.
Yes, it is. We got to get on.
We don't have time for that. We don't have time for bunny rabbits and bullets, Jack, because it is time to get on with the show, and that means it's time for the Conditional Release Program's Weekly News.
As per usual, there was a protest at Parliament House in Melbourne this weekend. But this one was different. It was a total Aryan victory. Or so they say.
Yeah.
Under a picture from the day they posted this on Telegram. Ooh,
total Aryan victory.
Total victory.
White men held the steps of Parliament before the scum traitors in Victoria Police attacked us unprovoked and used terrorism to stop the Australian people peacefully assembling against mass immigration and white replacement. Mind you, they've capitalised the first letter on like every second word here.
Yeah, they're not
Nazis,
smart.
man.
Nazis just not good at grammar.
They're
not grammar Nazis.
No. Oh, how did we not think of that earlier? Either way, we got our message out there. The Australian people know the truth, and we'll be back bigger and stronger next time. Cool. But was it a total Aryan victory?
Yeah,
I mean,
I dunno.
It was total Aryan amateur hour from what I saw. It was fucking pathetic. Oh, but they'll be back bigger and stronger because we're big, scary Nazi boys. We'll be back. You'll be sorry.
The steps of Parliament House have become a regular protest party for cookers with nothing better to do and a urinal for those who live stream said protest parties. There's music and drums and signs, and it's basically Cookerpalooza for the few rusted-on losers that simply have nothing left in their lives. But this was different. Last weekend, the National Socialist Network, otherwise known as the NSN, isn't that what's operating our internet? No.
It could be.
Otherwise known as neo-Nazi cunts. That'd be NS. That'd be NNC.
NNC, yeah. Look, it could catch on. Yeah.
Capitalise on the recent projected immigration numbers and rental crisis to hold a rally that would provoke tensions around self-interest in the face of increasing immigration and limited housing stock, and with the absolute intent of recruiting gullible cookers into their ranks.
Yeah.
Good idea. Recruitment day.
Fuck yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nazis have been grooming cookers for some time now. I mean, they famously ruined Pete Evans' life, more or less over a Nazi meme and turning him into an alleged Holocaust denier.
Allegedly.
But I mean, they did that. That was them. That's documented. The recent hysteria around drag queen story time, imported from the culture wars in the USA, has provided the neo-Nazi movement a way to slide into the DMs of various cookers and get a bit of a more than positive response. So Telegram is full of people sharing articles from famous neo-Nazis like Blair Cottrell and Tom Sewell and their dirty Nazi news page XYZ News, because the posts happen to either punch down on trans people or viciously threaten drag performers who work with children.
Yep, that's about it at the moment.
It's often hard to know whether the cookers are sharing the content knowing full well they are sharing Nazi shit. Oh, who's Blair Cottrell? Oh, that's bad. Or if they're just fucking idiots who press share on anything that supports the current thing the far right are fixated on that time. You know, they're a bit like that. I mean, it's hard to know. We will come back to this later, though. But for now, we need to get to the total Aryan victory. Fucking assholes. Big thanks to all the people who went to the event, especially just in your presence to just tell the Nazis to fuck off. But of course, a special big ups to those who shared their experiences on social media. We stole from a bunch of accounts. We love you all. Without that, we couldn't do this segment. Well, we could, but we'd be using MSM reportage, which is shit.
As good.
It's like the ABC is like, oh yeah, Peter Dutton and Albo said it was bad, and news.com.au said that an anti-immigration rally was crashed by Nazis. They organised it, you idiots. Anyway, that's, you know. So the Nazis planned a rally on the steps, and as Dr. Kaz pointed out, there were two posters. There was a Nazi one and an Australian flag one.
Yeah, both had the headline, Stop Immigration Rally.
Yeah.
Like you were kind of wondering if it was a rally or not. You've got to put the word rally in there.
But where are the rally cars?
I mean, you just think, if you're going to... Look, I shouldn't have to tell you people this, but if you're going to have a protest placard or a poster up, you want to be brief. Stop immigration. Fucking exclamation mark. Off you go.
Bless.
The dinky-die Aussie flag was there too, sadly. One highlighted the housing crisis, particularly acute in Rowville, where a lot of these people live, lowered wages and rising crime due to immigration, but didn't ham up the whole white power part or mention the NSN at the end. You see, being very sneaky here.
Well, you've got to have two posters. One of them that's like, fuck yeah, we're Nazis. And the other one that's just like, we're not Nazis. We just think sort of similar. which is sort of what they're getting at. Either way, like, it was an attempt to astroturf a cooker rally and get the most gullible rubes in Victoria to go and mingle with neo-Nazis, and maybe they could ask a few Jewish questions, you know? It'd be really,
You slip that one in. Yeah.
Q&A. It's like Q&A.
Of course,
yeah.
The campaign against racism and fascism, otherwise known as CAF, put the word out to get people down there to do what Tam Tanaki calls yarding, yelling at racist dogs.
Yeah.
It's an acronym.
It's great.
And they did. And it was glorious. But let's get back to total Aryan victory for now.
Fuck, they're cunts. So the neo-Nazis turned up a little bit early and claimed the steps. I think it was around sort of 10:30 or so. They got a nice family photo in their dashing black shorts and a sign that said, "Living space for whites, stop immigration," and they had like a little NSN logo on it. This was their first total Aryan victory of the day.
Yeah,
they got a nice photo, looking all sketchy, wearing black masks, flanked by Vic Pol, who are protecting them like...
It's like Poland in 39.
Yes, exactly. Their spearheads were being flanked. Yeah. It would be a nice photo if the lads could simply get it together and pose at the same time. Oh my God. I'm not going to post on the shitposting group or anything because fuck Dan. But like, clearly nobody said cheese. It's just a mess. It's just a bunch of lads just standing around.
Guys, live music cover. No, rock music cover. That's what we want, okay?
Either cross your arms
you look
or
sideways,
salute.
you cross your arms, you look a bit mean. Come on.
Exactly. No, one of them was sort of tending to the water and shit. Like I don't know how these people are meant to stage a fucking race war when they can't even look at a camera at the same time.
Maybe not the right race.
Fellas. Now, I hadn't seen this from the footage from the usual suspects on Twitter, but the NSN Twitter page, which obviously shouldn't exist, but Elon Musk does exist and is a white supremacist, so it does exist. I mean, report it all you like. No one cares.
Oh, except when it comes to the Turkish government. Or, sorry, should I say the Turkian government?
We should probably discuss that in preview.
Where he just squibbed it and said, yes, President Erdogan, I'll delete all the bad things.
And for what? The Turkish market? How much is that worth? A few lira? Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, look. They've been posting photos, and one of them had the caption, "Mog your enemies." Now, I have to explain this because who the fuck knows what mog your enemies means?
Because a mog is a cat.
Exactly. No, mog is a red pill term, as in like the MRA red pill. Like sort of men's sort of like, dating pickup artist type thing. It comes from AMOG, alpha male of the group. It's like a dumb pickup thing. You got to be the alpha male of the group so chicks want to fuck you. So to mog them is to generally just be sort of more alpha than them.
Right.
Usually this is by being taller or more muscular.
Kick sand in their faces, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's also in the pickup industry, it's more like this whole idea of like, regardless of who's around you, you're the loudest and most annoying and then chicks want to fuck you. It's great. It totally works.
Yeah.
So the picture shows them on the steps with their little sign and, I shit you not, a fucking barbell, like a weight bar and weight plates.
Yeah, that's kind of their thing now.
It's so pathetic. I don't even know what they're going to do with it though.
Some shitty gym that allows them entry.
On the Parliament steps?
In some, in some industrial estate somewhere in the shit back passages of Melbourne.
They had to carry that to the Parliament steps. To do what? Like deadlift for the white race? Like what was the plan?
Just working out, man. You never know. You might just want to
show
feel the urge.
White people can lift so much better than darkies, man. Fucking... Yeah, like the blacks can't lift. And the Jews, don't get me started on their bench.
They're terrible at weightlifting.
They can't fucking bench at all. So look, it's just peak cringe behaviour from a group of utterly pathetic people. I think we've got a bit of a consensus these people are cunts. But, silver linings, that was really funny. Now, once again, not going to post it, but if you do find it, it's a really funny picture. It's fucking pathetic. And they brought like a little crate of water, because you need water when you're working out. So the total Aryan victory was fairly short-lived. Because after they started hiling Hitler on the steps, the police decided to politely ask them to leave. And that caused a little bit of a quarrel.
They're quarrelsome people, Nazis.
They just seem very argumentative. Now, after a little bit of back and forth, the police decided that the Nazis didn't taste quite salty enough and needed a little bit of spice and started spraying them with OC spray. I'm okay with that. So after the Nazis became a bit more delicious, they fought back, had a bit of a tussle, and the entire thing ended in just general, pointless Nazi.
What Vic Pol did was establish a precinct around the parliamentary steps.
Search area.
That is a no-go area, and anyone in it will be searched and moved along.
I think cars can be as well.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how long that parliamentary measure has been in place. I suspect for a very, very long time.
It's quite a strong power.
When the Australian Federal Parliament first sat, of course, it sat in the Victorian Parliament, and Billy Hughes, who went on to become an Australian Prime Minister, of course, was a rather wretched-looking little fellow. And he turned up on the front steps of Parliament for the first sitting of Parliament. He was an elected member of Parliament. He was actually two members of Parliament. He was a member of New South Wales Parliament at the same time, which is a trivia question. Anyway, he walked up there was quite a crowd in Bourke Street, Spring Street, sort of to see the first Australian Federal Parliament. And Billy Hughes, who was, as I say, this rather nondescript little man, sort of fronted up, and there was this police sergeant there. And he goes, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "I'm an elected member." He goes, "I'm an elected member of Parliament, sir." And he goes, "No, you're not," and made him go around the back. Get in the back way. No, you're not. You don't look like one.
It's just like Avi Yemen being told he's not a journalist. You don't look like a journalist. You're too small.
Yeah. So anyway, it may be as long as that. Maybe as long as 1901 that they've been able to establish a precinct around the parliamentary steps. And I've got to ask why they haven't done it more often in the last couple of years, Joe.
You would ask that. I'm sure they would have found a lot of very interesting things.
Anyway, the Nazis, yeah, they got in. There was tussling. There was grappling.
There was grappling. There were flags flapping around. There was a general angry back and forth, which I feel like the cops kind of won.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, no charges seem to be laid, which is bizarre to me.
Yeah. Look, in the end, it's probably paperwork, but yeah. Look, it's one of those things. If you go out of your way, I know there are a lot of people and a lot of our listeners who are sort of ACAB types, but it's one of those sort of straightforward way you communicate with other human beings sort of issue. If you upset coppers, they will give you a hard time. Even if you're in a protest situation, they will give you a hard time. Now, other times they will sort of kettle you and try and push you around.
Which
and
they
that means it's going to be an altercation anyway. But
well, I mean, that's what happened. I mean, the theme of the day was basically damage control. So the police were kettling the Nazis away from the counter-protesters. But at the same time, I mean, like, look, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the virtues of anti-fascists in the face of Nazis, but the cops were getting pretty fucking handsy with the anti-fascists, who were probably being pretty, like, they were probably playing up as well.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's
to keep
what I mean.
the kids separated,
it looked to me like they were just abusing them and those sorts of things where coppers, and a lot of them are large, are just going to go wacko.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened. But at the end of the day, the cops were somewhat equal opportunity violence inflictors and coercive arms of the state, because the anti-fascists copped a fair bit of pepper spraying themselves.
Yes, so I believe.
Yeah, and look, I didn't see all the footage and I don't really understand the backstory, but what I would say is that if you're seeing a situation where Nazis and anti-fascists are getting an equal spraying, I'm not sure if that's equal when you match it up for who you're dealing with. Anyway.
Well, yeah, when you're dealing with coppers, you're just saying, look, you've got to think from their point of view. And their point of view is, you guys are really spoiling my day here. I was having a lovely day until now, and now I've got to go and deal with you guys. And
also, a lot of them probably join the force because they've got a power fetish. But yeah, there is that.
I don't know so much with Vic Pol these days. I don't know the younger ones too much. But yeah, there's very much an us and them mentality in Vic Pol, and that is, we're good. Everybody else are sort of outsiders. That's the way they view the world.
Yeah. And if you've got a power fetish, really, joining the police is probably a bad idea. Bikies might work better, because unless you've got a paperwork fetish, the police is probably not your place to be. Anyway, the rally was set to begin about 12 p.m, midday, but due to the Nazis in CAF strategically showing up early to claim space, it essentially started around 11 and was almost done and dusted before the 12 p.m. start time. And the cops were very interested in making sure this did not last long. You had counter-protesters who moved on toward the Nakba rally to sort of protest and commemorate 75 years of Israeli occupation in Palestine. Pretty standard story. Lefties, generally pro-Palestine. It's just a nice day for them. Fair enough. Go and tell Nazis to fuck off, and then go and support Palestine. Fine. The Nazis were then moved by police toward Fitzroy Gardens, where they were essentially stranded due to their car tyres being slashed.
Oh, That's not nice.
Oh, what a shame. Another total Aryan victory.
Total Aryan victory. This thing's starting to sound like Stalingrad, Joel.
Yes, it is. News ain't good from Stalingrad, as Tism would say. Defecate on my face. So while a group of protesters stuck around to mock them, chanting, "Fuck off, Nazis, fuck off."
Fuck off, Nazis, fuck off, fuck off.
No, they should have done that.
I hope it's done to that tune.
It wasn't. It was, "Fuck off, Nazis, fuck off."
Oh.
You're right, though. That should have had a real cricket tinge to it. I think the problem is the Nazis may have appreciated
that.
Fuck off,
Nazis, fuck off, fuck off. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I think they would have liked the Come On Aussie style, though. Oh, well.
Might be some copyright issues.
There could be some copyright issues. I don't think anyone cares. So the Nazis played with their phones and had a bit of a sook behind police cars, waiting to be escorted individually away from the scene, safely to some sort of alternate transport, something along the lines. And I just hope that they didn't get any parking tickets, Jack, because that seems unfair.
Yeah, it would make it a really bad day.
Their tyres were slashed by Antifa, by terrorists. You can't have that.
That's right.
They're terrorists.
Yeah, but it's starting not to look like a total Aryan victory, Joel.
Oh, what gives you that idea?
It's starting to look a little bit like Gotthardemmerung in the bunker.
I'm not going to lie. We're leaving out so many failures on their part, but we don't have all fucking day. So while the Nazis waited to be taken away safely by their police handlers, serial right-wing pest, and absolutely not a journalist, not a journalist, flanked by... They're not talking about me, right? Rukshan Fernando started just straight up interviewing Nazis for their Rebel News video, for their shitty fucking content. They talked to Tom Sewell. It's fucking shameless. Now, it was hard to know at the time whether Arvey was actually about to platform Nazis and side with them or not. But they did seem pretty chummy. I mean, you would think he wouldn't. I mean, he comes from a huge, prominent Jewish family, but they do all kind of hate him. And he probably hates himself.
Yeah, self-hating Jew.
Well, I mean, he did say he's the self-proclaimed world's proudest Jewish Nazi, right? I mean, John Safran jokes about being a self-hating Jew. But, I mean, saying you're a proud Jewish Nazi...
Yeah, it's Larry David's shtick, I mean... It's funny when he does it. Yeah.
Exactly, because it's neurotic and cute, and you know he's kidding, for fuck's sake. And he doesn't tend to have Nazis on the show. He does have Cheryl Hines, though, who's now married to RFK Jr., which has... there's a lot to say about that, but let's not. Yeah. His bodyguard was there too, which is really good because Daniel Jones has been seen several times with the NSN crew in the past.
Does tend to hang out. Yeah,
would have been nice.
I
don't think he's got many friends, so it's good to see some old mates there. Maybe have mix up with some of your old chums.
Yeah, look, as it turned out, both predictably, but also in a hugely disappointing move, Avi Yemeni did indeed release a video that not only platformed neo-Nazis, but claimed that anti-fascists were not only worse, but also more anti-Semitic because they attacked him, and he believes he was the only Jew there.
Because he's a fucking idiot.
Now, this protest and the Nazi appearances far too frequent on the steps of the Victorian Parliament have been condemned by every Jewish group in Australia.
Yeah, except for
every
except
single
for
one of them, except for Avi Yemeni.
Yeah, he's not a Jewish group though.
What's
he's
wrong with
Nazi.
this picture?
What is wrong with this picture? Yeah, and the fact that he thinks he's the only Jew there. I mean, like, bless. It goes without saying, but a few sort of anti-fascist Twitter accounts, things like that, were like, I know. X amount of Jews there. I think Aaron, who's now just F off Nazis on Twitter, was saying, I know, at least, sort of 3 Jews. And I think I saw, a Hasidic Jew, yelling at Nazi stuff like that. But it goes without saying, of course there were fucking Jews there. Statistically speaking, there was 1,000 people. There's probably a few Jews in the crowd. Avi Yemeni's a moron. And he says these things to a fucking crowd of dipshits who fucking believe what he says because they just love hearing his voice, because they tell him exactly what they want to hear, because he lies to them in sweet, sweet, hate-filled parcels. Anyway, there's lots wrong with that. It is worth unpacking because the rally itself, which was a fucking train wreck from start to finish, total Aryan victory, right? Yeah. The Nazis showed up. Nobody came out to hang out with them.
Nobody.
And the flyer was all over Telegram. Cookers just didn't turn up. The sort of usual everyday parasites who go there every weekend and just sort of piss on the steps, they appeared to actually keep away from the Nazis. And generally speaking, didn't get the chance. The Nazis didn't really get the chance to sign up these dopey anti-vaxxers who, let's face it, they've seen Europa because El Salzone told them to, and they're starting to think that maybe Hitler wasn't such a bad guy after all. I mean, like, a lot of these people are getting pretty Nazi-pilled, but the PR issues around Nazism are still pretty bad. So, look, I did expect it to be more of a success, to be honest. Maybe it was because it ended before it began. You know, being moved on before the 12 p.m. start date probably saw some possible cookers turning up to police lines and no party, not really being able to get through. But it also looks like cookers might not be completely keen quite yet to become full-blown Nazis.
Not yet.
But as the NSN has suggested, they are warming up to it. And it is a worry, because Sewell and Co. have said that they're starting to win hearts and minds, and while a clusterfuck like Saturday would suggest otherwise with their total Aryan victory, the comments, never read the comments by the way, are telling a fairly worrying sort of story.
I have a T-shirt that says that.
Yes. You should.
Yeah, look, one thing we mentioned Sewell before, and I will find this out for our listeners and patrons for the next episode. Sewell has outstandings in my mind. It's just taking so long. He was charged in 2021 May with armed robbery, theft, criminal damage, affray with a face covering, affray, assault with a weapon, violent disorder, common law assault, and committing an indictable offence while on bail. That was in May 2021.
Is that all?
And look, his first appearance was in August. He was bailed. He was actually remanded in custody between May and August. And then he was bailed at that time. I think bailed that first hearing. And really it's hard to find out anything else since.
Yeah, okay. I want to say very, 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 very allegedly that I've heard through anti-fascist circles, just on Twitter, it's all public record stuff that's been published out there, that Tom Sewell is a suspected police informant.
I have. Look, I
don't have the backstory on my hand.
Talked about this on a Patreon, but on a Patreon episode. I'm going to find out what's happened to this. I mean, it's 2 years almost to the day since the charges were laid.
It's a lot of charges to get bail for.
He eventually got bail in a COVID environment, in a COVID jail environment.
Yeah.
So bail was being handed out a fair bit. And what we've seen, it may well be that it's just been delayed. That the trial's been just delayed.
Quite possibly. But I mean, like,
but
I can see why people think
get back to you. It's a huge. This relates to shall we say, an alleged attack,
allegedly
in Central Victoria, including hikers. So it would be if found guilty, and you would imagine some of these charges might ultimately be dropped before he goes to court. Or during proceedings.
That happens.
But you would imagine someone being charged with armed robbery, theft, criminal damage, affray with a face covering, etc., assault with a weapon, violent disorder.
That's a holiday, and you got priors.
That's a 5-year holiday. Yeah, that's a 5.
Got to be.
With his, of course, we're all a bit astonished when in January this year he got off the assault. Well, didn't get off. He was convicted of the assault, but not given any jail time because he pleaded that his wife, I think, or his partner was, 7 months pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
He also listed his employment as a factor. He would lose his employment. So he was ultimately given a non-custodial sentence.
Sounds like he had a good lawyer.
He represented himself.
Whoa. Fuck. Well done him. Terrifying. I don't like smart Nazis.
To be honest, he's smart enough to work out the system now. He actually offered one person who'd witnessed the assault on the Channel 9 security guard, who was decked and hit his head hard on the concrete. And it looked bad. One person who witnessed that had told the court that she had nightmares as a result of that. And Sewell, as part of his statement to the court, offered his apologies to her. So, making the right noises.
Yeah, he knows exactly how to do this.
He knows exactly how to do this.
Get done on a DUI and go to rehab.
He denied it was a racial attack and all this sort of stuff, although it clearly was.
Yeah, what a fucking cunt. Anyway, so the anti-trans pivot has created this sort of satanic panic situation, and it's seeing these hysterical levels of fear-mongering around this idea of pedophilic grooming and this bizarre, violent sexual delusions around drag performers infecting the minds of these gullible cookers who are looking for a new thing to be upset about. Let's face it. The jab, boring. Old news.
Just getting boring.
Let's get angry at trans people and let's just call them pedophiles for no fucking reason. at all. And while cookers are angry and convincing themselves that people in drag are genuinely horrible people, trans, drag, two very different things, by the way. And of course,
they are.
These are also incredibly stupid and completely made up reasons. They do not exist. The idea of a big Nazi strongman to, as the Nazis would say, destroy pedo freaks seems quite appealing to them. I mean, that's my theory anyway. It seems they're kind of getting off on the idea that, and this is something that, the Sewell actually said, the Conservatives hadn't stepped up. They haven't been violent enough.
I think if you're a cooker and you go, look, I've spent the last 2 years just protesting the jab and the mandates and all that sort of stuff, still I would think there'd be a large number of cookers who'll go, Nazis, I don't want to hang around with Nazis. The very fact that Nazis are on my side means my side might not be the right side. Are we the bad guys?
Are we the bad? Exactly. And I think there are some
there'll be a lot of people who are like that.
I think there are. I really do. To their credit. But not enough. Not fucking enough. And the ones who have convinced themselves that drag queen storytime is run by pedophiles, that trans people are somehow grooming pedophiles for some weird reason. Nobody likes a fucking pedophile. I'm not surprised that they're angry. The fact that they think these people are pedophiles is a problem, not that they're fighting pedophilia. I don't have a problem with fighting pedophilia. You're not fighting pedophilia, though. You're fighting a fucking straw man designed to make you hate people that have been traditionally marginalized for fucking what? Centuries now? You fucking rubes. Anyway.
Yeah, amen. Yeah. Look, the other thing uniting the far right is its opposition to the voice.
Yeah.
To the referendum that we will soon have. And cookers want to vote no for reasons they find difficult to articulate. Although there's the prominent thing is we don't want two levels of Australians, and they'll summon up apartheid. Like they're somehow going to, be only pissing in the whites only toilet, and they're the smelly ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the black ones are really nice and clean. Sure,
they won't come right out and say we don't trust Indigenous Australians. Well, they're often happy to say the quiet part out loud. They're trying not to come off as complete racist arseholes. Yeah. But they love hearing the quiet part out loud. And who says it best? Nazis.
They love that. This is the least controversial thing they'll say all week. I mean, so look, you got the Aboriginal Voice Exposed group on Telegram. It has 1370 subscribers. I think we talked to our patrons about this recently. Enough. Look, it's enough, but it's tiny for Telegram. Pete Evans has 50,000 and he's fucking irrelevant. So the content that they produce is shared across many much larger cooker groups who may or may not realize that it's run by Nazis. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. With may or may not, even though it's full of Blair Cottrell.
I think you're being generous there, Joe.
Real fucking generous, trust me. And while they have this big circle joke, how the voice will be rigged, how it's going to bring in a new Aboriginal tax, it's an actual post from the fucking group, and how white people shouldn't have to be welcomed to their own country at events, at the end of the day, it's a Trojan horse for Nazi bullshit. They've got these articles from XYZ News that are linked to straight up Nazi content. Once you go to that page, you will have shit about basically erasing Jews within one click. Yep. So it'd be difficult to say the cookers who are sharing this were completely aware of this link. Maybe they're sharing the thumbnail without clicking through the link, but it's fucking hard to say they're oblivious to it. Anyway.
It's a tough argument to make.
Look, I spent a lot of time explaining how dumb these people are. So I give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to being intelligent. That being said, I don't know, man.
It's a fair call. Yeah, I don't know.
The Nazis are using right-wing causes to recruit idiots by pandering to their bullshit and then linking them to their little Nazi news quarterly page. And they're just basically just trying to push the Jewish question onto gullible cookers, which is the last thing we need because it's going to work. It will work. So we'll be seeing this from the right in the future, especially from Avi, Rukshan, other fucking awkward Nazi apologists who would rather side with people that literally want them dead rather than people they disagree with on culture war shit like trans issues. And as usual, this isn't unique to Australia. This is in total fucking lockstep with a collective conservative tantrum by US conservatives. When Joe Biden declared white supremacy the most dangerous terrorist threat, as they call it over there, historically black university, a fucking desperate flurry of racism came in its wake, essentially proving his point. I mean, instead of saying white supremacy is bad, which is fine and not hard to do, they bleat about these pumped up black crime statistics and generally lean into the fact that they are indeed white supremacists. They fully support this cause. And let's face it, white nationalists at heart. So I would say expect more of this. I don't know specifically where it's coming from, like Freedom Works or people associated with CPAC or whatever, but it's being pushed really hard. And the way in which this, like, no, Nazis aren't that bad, is happening in a sort of like weird Western social media global sense. It's
the whole basis of Nazism. It flourishes in chaos.
Yeah.
And so neo-Nazis know enough to create chaos, to create a sense of chaos.
They're quite good.
And that's where they recruit. That's where they recruit. We're seeing it in Europe with significant numbers attaching themselves to ultra-nationalist groups.
Yeah.
We see it really throughout the world. You might have seen the Turkish election goes to runoff on May 28, and the third candidate, who polled 4% of the vote, is essentially a Nazi Turk.
That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy.
So his votes his voters will either stay home or probably vote for Erdogan. So we will see.
We will see.
Yes, look, Nazis using the rental crisis as a wedge to alienate immigrants will not work because fundamentally people detest Nazis. It's
branding problem.
Seen, but if the right-wing media machines start to drill the point that rents are increasing, wages are decreasing due to increased post-COVID immigration, then we are going to see the Nazis keep trying to recruit on these inflamed talking points. You know, this was something that existed in Peter Dutton's Budget in Reply.
Yeah.
We'll talk about budgets in reply later, but yes, it was mentioned, and they were saying, look, we support immigration, but there was no doubt there was a little bit of dog whistling going on.
Oh, there's huge dog whistling coming from over there. He condemned this rally.
They kept talking about a group of, over the next 5 years, immigration will total the population of Adelaide. And that was a talking point from the Liberal Party last week. And you think, well, that sounds very ominous for the people of Adelaide. They might be told to get in the fucking trucks because we've got 1.5 million people to come here, 1.2 million.
They'd run out of Coopers if they weren't all muzzies.
And so look, I'm always sort of kind of open to having conversations about immigration as long as they're sensible and rational.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the people who will be coming here to study and work.
It's great for our economy. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we're not, in most cases, and this was the deceitful part about Dutton's comments last week, well, in most cases, these people will be coming here to study or coming here because they are sought after as employees to do the sort of work that Australians
We're a bit too good
don't like doing.
Not a fan. And also, they're probably going to give 30% of their pay packet back to their fucking boss.
Yeah, they'll give 30% of their pay packet to the Australian government.
Well, they do the other one, but remember the 7-Eleven scandal where the bosses are basically making the students work and just taking the money.
Oh yeah, well you've got wage theft, the wage theft issues around migration,
totally.
Of course, and that's when you don't get the migration right. So when you've got too many people coming here who have no right to work, you know they're going to be exploited.
Yeah.
So
we've got jobs.
We have the entire population of Adelaide coming our way tomorrow.
Yeah. It's good for the economy. Bring it on.
Anyway, eventually it's going to work, all this talk. And while Nazis have a serious branding issue, people like Avi Yemeni declaring they are not so bad, and certainly not as bad as Antifa, we will see people starting to ask whether Nazis are as bad as we think and whether they might be misunderstood. I'm not sure. I think there will be some. Definitely.
Oh, it's a fraction.
That's why they're misbehaving in public.
Yeah.
This is all about drawing people in.
It's a stunt. It's a recruitment stunt. But look, one Nazi's too many, and that's the issue here. And I think every person they recruit into this ridiculous death cult is a soul that really is lost. So the stakes are quite high. I know they won't be marching on the streets in numbers that we've seen for real people causes like climate change and war protests. But
I was talking to one of our friends in law enforcement just in the last couple of hours, Joel, and they were saying the same thing. They're very concerned, and we've talked about this almost endlessly in our shows. What happens to those people who can't come back?
Yeah. Yeah,
and there is a fair acceptance in law enforcement that there are a large group of people who can't come back, and that's not necessarily their purview, the law enforcement, that is. But there will be some who will go to real extremism. And they're
really
the ones that have
happen.
to sort of be watched. Yeah.
I would find it very difficult to go to a gay club in the next probably 4 odd years anyway. So look, this entire thing is fucking terrible. The idea of pandering to people's self-interest and exploiting a conspiratorial satanic panic around trans and gender issues is absolutely not beneath Nazis. Turning around and saying that you can't get a rental because of brown people and your kids are going to get fucked by drag queens. I mean, that is not beneath their purview whatsoever. But this is the thing. It's likely we're going to see these weasels continuing to sniff around cooker circles, trying to recruit the most vulnerable in our society to their ranks. And when I say the most vulnerable, I mean the most stupid, which is cookers. They are fucking dumb. So we don't need more Nazis. We really do not. We need more Nazis like a fucking moose needs a hat rack. Nobody has ever needed more Nazis. I shouldn't have to say this.
No.
It's so redundant. But it feels like there is a flashpoint happening right now. And hopefully it passes without too many of these total Aryan victories. But fuck me. As they said,
when you're dealing with very, very stupid people, you know they're going to, their understanding of 20th century history is probably not going to be all that comprehensive, particularly the middle part.
Trust me, Europa is going to be rife in these ranks. They watch that 12-hour thing. Fuck, man, watching 12 hours of content, almost well done. Almost well done. But they come out of it thinking Hitler's not such a bad guy because they're gullible morons and they swallow counter-narratives because they think it makes them clever and edgy because it panders to their fucking insecurities. Anyway, they said they're going to be back. I don't know if they're going to be bigger and better as they promised, but they're just going to keep doing it. And they're not done trying to recruit morons into this weird dick-touching club they've created. Oh, yeah, look at mine.
There's a lot of homoerotic stuff going on there, isn't there?
You're circumcised, you Jewish dickhead. Yeah, sick.
Yeah, a lot of homoerotic stuff, a bit of Eric Rom stuff. Leader of the Brown Shirts, who was executed on the night of the long knives when the Gestapo walked in. Actually, it was the black shirts, the SS, when they walked in. Eric Holm was being fucked up the arse.
It sounds like a shit gay bar to me.
Yeah, yes, dressed, Nazi night at the
Nazi night at the Imperial's no good. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll do anything for you. Money. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Stop what you're doing right now, Joel. Stop that awful law degree. You're not going to need it.
No.
If you ever need help with the law, you don't need a lawyer. You need a Ballock. Derek Ballock. He's better than a lawyer. That's right. If you're in the market for a law-talking guy, Derek's your man.
Good.
For as little as more than a lawyer would charge, Derek can help. Does the boss want you to get vaccinated, but you don't want to take the death jab? Give Derek a call.
Save me.
Feel you've been dudded at the ballot box? And everywhere you look is electoral fraud. Drop Derek a line.
Oh, good.
Want to charge Dan Andrews with treason but can't be bothered filling out the paperwork? Get Derek Ballock on the blower.
We'll misprision him to the yards.
What have you got to lose? Besides your house, your car, the love and respect of your family? Nothing, right?
Nah.
On receipt of funds in small, non-sequential notes, if you would be so kind, Derek will be hot on the trail of the kind of justice as seen on TV. And Joel, the reviews are in, and we thank Cooker Watch for some of these, on Derek Ballock, law-talking guy.
Ballock's evidence is inconclusive and unreliable.
That's a good quote.
Ouch. As a matter of evidence, I find the statements provided by Ballock on this issue to be of limited weight and not at all persuasive. It's classic judge talk. Master of the roles. Fuck you up. I agreed with the board that the submission was fanciful and had no substance. Ouch. Overwhelmingly, these unfair dismissal claims have been unsuccessful, and challenge to employer-mandated COVID-19 policies and other measures have only had limited success in circumstances where relevant consultation requirements were not followed.
But Joel, success? Limited? But yeah, still,
Success! Oh, mate, I'm keen. Do you have a business card?
Success, they're just limited.
Beyond that, the defence submissions are legally and grammatically nonsensical.
Well, that's not so good, that one.
It's not great. It's not
But
perfect.
then my personal favourite is...
Okay, this is great because this really sums it up. The application is therefore dismissed.
The application is, he said that a few times. Well, what
And
could
with
possibly
costs.
go wrong?
No,
Assets, listeners, they're messy things.
So much
And
hassle.
make you fill out tax returns to an illegal government already tainted by
Rates.
treason.
Ugh.
And if Derek has anything to say about it, has no jurisdiction.
None. Not whatsoever. Absolutely not.
So if you've craved a sea change, run out of town with bailiffs snapping at your ass before you finally hock the last remaining property. You have to scrounge together a bit of coin for a deposit on a van down by the river. Derek can make that happen today.
Good man.
Certainly by midday next Wednesday, you will be financially fucked.
Well, he does like a sleep in, so give him some time.
Yeah, don't
Give
hit him up
some
early
time.
in the morning.
Yes. Now, he may be a little bit busy at the moment because Derek is actually suing the ABC.
So he's suing the ABC.
As he says. I'm not sure if they've received the statement of claim. Maybe he doesn't know the address in Ultimo. It's Harris Street.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, but good luck with that, Derek. All they've got is, what's that? Billions in assets and some of the finest legal minds in the country at their disposal. But don't let that bother you, mate. You're Derek Bullock.
That's right.
Limited success.
Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, you are Derek Balloch.
Fuck yeah. And point at yourself and maybe spit it a couple of times because, add some spice.
We're taking his coin anyway. Written and authorised by Jack the Insider and Joel Hill on behalf of Derek Balloch, law-talking guy.
My name is Joel Hill and I approve of this message.
Cows have fucking masks on.
Everybody is up for the high jump if they deserve it. If they deserve to hang, they will hang.
Rise up, Australia. Men of Australia, time to step up and be real men. Protect your kids or go down biggest cowards this country has ever seen. Hang that animals.
And in this week's Cooker Update, we have to have a bit of a chat about Monica Smit.
Come on.
She has been incredibly funny recently for all the usual reasons and then some.
She's a funny girl.
She's fucking hilarious. She's had her day in court, she's begged for money and released a profit and loss statement for RDA that was meant to show her in this sort of dire need for cash, but actually shows she's raking in a shitload of money and doing fuck all with it. Got to have a big thanks to various people for this. Sandy and Soz, Exposing MV, Dallas. I'm not even sure what you did in this, Dallas, but you probably ruined something on behalf of
Thank you, guys. Yes, it has been something to see.
Couldn't do without you. Thank you very much. Honestly, you guys watch the videos. I can't be fucked. So she set up this anti-trans group called Voice for Kids. And then she not only denied being associated with it, but then pretended that she sort of stumbled upon them randomly on the internet. And they were like awesome and really great. Oh, really, really good.
They're really nice people.
Goes to another school. You can't meet her, but she's so... So again, Voice for Kids, she didn't bother paying for a domain privacy clause.
No.
It's like $20 extra at the end of the application.
Times are tough.
So it was clear that voiceforkids.com.au was a domain bought by RDA.
It was obvious.
As usual, she was caught lying and brushed it off because a few fibs is just the kind of usual with Mao Mon. This is what she does.
Today with a Y in it.
Truly. So in an email entitled RDA Closing Down, she says this.
It is with a heavy heart I inform you that... Where's the comma? Where's the comma, Mon? Jesus. It is with a heavy heart I inform you that RDA is on the brink of bankruptcy.
Is it though?
I declare bankruptcy.
I
I declare bankruptcy! We explain it and even show profit loss statements from the last 10 months so you can see why I have no choice. There is a question mark at the end of this title because RDA can be saved. There is a way.
There is a way.
But it will be up to the people, not us. What would that way be, Joel?
Yeah.
By the way.
That would be
winning the lottery or
giving her
mom
money.
goes and gets a job or...
Well, as it turns out, maybe grandmother giving her the house, but that's something we'll discuss in a bit. One thing I can say is that after she said, you can see why I have no choice, there was no full stop, and I could see in your face veins bursting when there was no full stop after that.
No, it had to be read the right way because it's like there is there is hope. That's why I'm not putting a full stop here. There is hope. And I just want to leave it out there.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. I fucking love it.
We can be saved. It can be saved.
Yeah, I just need you to flick me a 50.
Fucking racket can be saved.
Oh, this is going to be a fun segment. So, yeah, she begs some money. There's pictures of a balance sheet, which seems to indicate that she's making something like $200,000 a year in donations. There's like 50 grand a quarter. Was that 4 months or something?
Vulnerable people.
Fucking ridiculous. Where's the money, Monica? Where's the money, Monica? Where's the money?
Psst, money. Where's the tax?
Hey,
Because it is actually revenue. Donations are revenue. You are not a charity. You are not a not-for-profit.
Yeah, that'll be the next chapter in this story, I'm sure of it.
Yes, I think we're headed that way.
So she also released a video asking for the same old people that she was more than happy to see die so she could have her freedoms now give her their money. For some reason. Yet she is fishing for inheritances.
Oh.
Now, bequeathing money, it's totally a thing in fundraising. This is nothing new. She's not, reaching into the barrel here. This is totally
for legitimate charities it is, John.
Well, yes. No, fair.
If you're just running a racket.
Fair. But the thing is that usually people don't encourage policies to kill the people they want to then give them money.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a side hustle she's got going on.
Kind of like going to a pound and like shooting all the dogs, but asking them to bequeath them money first. That's not how this works, Monica. You're mental. So in a video posted by Exposing MV on Twitter, Monica is shown literally calling for old people to oppose lockdowns and become martyrs for people's livelihoods. Ooh. What, the ability to work at a fucking milk bar?
Oh, Monica, you are sick.
She's a fucking sociopath. And now she wants their money when they finally die. After all the lockdowns saved all these old people, she's like, oh, you've lived too long. Look me up.
Cough on you because we're unvaccinated and we've just got enormous viral loads. We'll pop around a residential aged care facility, cough all over the lot of you.
Change those wills.
And here's the will, if you could just change that.
If you could. Thank you very much. Don't worry, we'll have our in-house lawyer make sure it's all legit. More of that to come. So Monica claims the money will go to this, more annoying printed nonsense truth trucks and, that sort of bullshit. But she continues to say that she's paying herself $500 a week.
Yeah.
That's her story.
That's a tax minimisation measure and a legitimate one. But, she's running a company, so she's actually a company director.
Yep.
And she pays herself a salary, and that salary will sit underneath the taxable threshold.
Yeah, she gets a lot of benefits from the company, and they are taxed at a company rate, but she doesn't have them as the income.
So she's been able to split her income by having, I guess, what were on occasions volunteers then coming onto staff. She had staff about 4 or 5 people, I think.
Yeah, she had stuff going on.
So she would have legitimately minimised some of her tax by paying staff from all the money that she's made in donations. I put her around about, you've seen the P&L and I haven't, but
it's only a fraction of the story.
$400,000 total income. $400,000
over the course, it'd be over $1 million.
Really?
Oh yeah, the $300K she's got from the legal thing when she was in jail. And look,
that was 300. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of bank. There's a lot of bank going on. So look, she was in a van down by the river. We kind of laughed at her about that. Apparently, she's upgraded to living with her folks again. I feel very sorry for them. I'm not sure how that relationship goes, and it's not my business or ours, so we're not going to touch that. Being facetious, even conversating about it. But it was recently discovered that Monica actually had an investment property, which she sold and was living off that cash.
Oh. So not just a $500 a week.
Yeah, the plot thickens, the wallet thickens. As Soz said on Twitter, she'd been living rent-free and earning money off an investment property, and of course, then bitching about being on $500 a week. But I tell you fucking what, that definitely puts a dent in the idea that she's been broke for years as she keeps on fucking, I'm paying $500 a week.
Well, look, I saw her do a video where she pulled her last 5 what was it, 5,000 out of the bank?
Oh yeah, that's right.
You remember
with
that?
the little cash thing. Yeah.
And let's all just live on cash, and demand monitoring our movements and all that sort of stuff.
That was her trying to hit the mark and missing really hard, while every other one was doing transphobic.
Yeah, but it was quite clearly a lie. If she's now posted a P&L with 2 million in revenue over 3 or 4 years,
yes, it's a fucking lie.
It's quite clearly a lie, and she's got an investment property. I mean, she is just a scammer. Let's get that out there. She's just a con artist.
That's what
Come
you can
see me,
deduct from
Monica.
this.
We'll go through every element of your life, every single item where you have taken money from other people. You come and see me anytime you like.
That's an invitation. That's a party. Now, look, I'm going to say that essentially this is performative victim bullshit in order to try and get cookers to dig deep and give you money for reasons that sort of don't exist. I mean, let's face it. This is a tweet from the masked victim, and paraphrase said that she was so broke that she accepted money from a kid at a servo. She did.
The 20.
Remember?
Yeah, the 20.
She took a kid's pocket money.
She took the kid's pocket money.
You know what you do in that situation? You politely decline.
You do.
And you're nice to them about it. Maybe you sign the note to be like a celebrity
you hang on to that and you look after your mum and dad.
You go and buy yourself whatever the opposite of a COVID vaccine is.
Yoink. Good on you, kid.
Oh, by the way, also, can you pose with me to make content? Because there's nothing more valuable than content.
I mean, this is just the complete lack of self-awareness that she does have, because that just looked terrible.
I know, because it is the lack of self-awareness, thinking, oh, man, when people realize a kid will give me their last $20, they'll love me. I'm like,
Jesus
oof,
Christ.
I'm not sure if that's the message.
That's right.
Are we getting that message from
show
this?
Show the world you're a grifter. This is the best way of doing it.
Fucking
Anyway, it turns out Mon is taking an overseas trip.
Oh
my gosh, my mum. And a nice long one. Don't know where the money came from. Apparently she is broke, but hey, everyone needs a holiday. She's going backpacking. She's going backpacking, and she's going to Europe for, I heard 5 years. But at least a few years.
It's 5.5 months.
5.5 months. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so that's where I got the 5 from.
Look,
and that's going to cost a fortune.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if that will be a column on the next profit and loss screenshot she releases. I think,
to be honest,
I don't want to impugn too much here, but by the time she gets back, she will have to file tax returns where she will be owing the Australian Taxation Office, I'm presuming here, quite a lot of money. And
quite possibly.
Yeah. Then I think the federal court looms as a possible venue to discuss her financial matters in an ongoing way.
Oh, don't worry. Reignite Legal will take care of it. You'll see.
Oh, yeah.
So, speaking of things all legal and mattery, she had a big day in court. And it was a big one.
Yeah.
There was a big one.
This one was the big one.
Two hearings. And this one has been a long time coming and a huge cash cow for the apparently almost defunct organization, as she likes to fucking say. She crowdfunded approximately $300,000, but claims she spent it on other people's court cases.
Other people, they go to another school. You wouldn't know them.
But yeah, you wouldn't know them. See, that's the thing. We're waiting to hear which ones they are, right? Like maybe she was really quiet about it. Because look, if Monica Smit is one thing, she's quiet and modest, right?
That's
real
shrinking
reserved.
Violet.
Yeah. Real quiet. Her court case coincides with the launch of Reignite Legal, which has admittedly been active for a while, but it needs a bit of a promotional bump. And how else to promote her new weird little boutique law firm than to not use it and represent herself? Marketing fucking genius.
Yeah.
My God. When I realized that, I'm like, hold on, doesn't she have a law firm? Why is she representing herself? So she's turned into a bit of a soft sit, but she's got this legal firm, but what?
Yeah.
Anyway, look.
I wouldn't use them. They're not great,
Yeah. Oh, no.
It's not a ringing endorsement, I think is what you're saying, Joe.
Yeah. It's quite wild. Anyway, look, Reignite Legal are very funny. They've got these 7 promises, which includes they will not accept a case they don't think has a chance of winning or settling, which is...
That's been done before.
Yes.
It's not the first time.
Every lawyer ever.
Lawyers have hung the shingle out on that basis, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the parts of your duty as a lawyer, which you are bound to by professional ethics. I actually got a distinction in ethics. Thank you very much, everyone. You know, you can throw your underwear at the stage.
Yes, let's get on with it.
But this is the kind of thing where you blink twice and think, why are you saying this? But then you realize that you look at various other lawyers who I will not mention because they have quite a lot of money and very nice cars and probably quite litigious, but considering, you know, they just do it on a fucking Saturday, they have been taking on cases with no chance of success for years now. All these dodgy freedom fucks who are like, oh yeah,
I think we can win it.
We'll just argue the Constitution. By the way, if we crowdfund it, my charges are $600 an hour. Look at fucking Buckley. The guy's life is fucking ruined because he's such a fucking greedy cunt. But that's what he did. He took on cases with no chance of success. It also claims, and I really like this one, that they will, quote, only use the law as a shield, not a weapon. Now, I've been doing some law school myself. It's a shield, not a sword. Not a sword. Monica, you got close.
Said a weapon.
Sword. Shield, not sword. That's in every fucking legal textbook. Some fucking dickhead judge is always going to say it somewhere. They always find an excuse. But this principle absolutely clashes with her plan to sue police for arresting her. But let's face it. I mean, since she didn't use Reignite Legal to defend her this time,
that's her out.
She might be, being pretty honest. Maybe she's going to actually use like real lawyers for this one, but probably not. I think she'll probably just represent herself. But my favorite one of all is this one. Quote, our focus will always be on what is moral, not what is, quotation marks, legal or, quotation marks, lawful.
Yeah.
How does that win cases?
It's not going to win cases.
I could just hear 1,000 magistrates just groaning at once.
That's what's wrong with it. That's what's wrong with the law, Joel.
Yeah, it doesn't really work that way. But, as we should discuss, true to her word, that's how she conducted herself in court. I mean, she doesn't have professional obligations to the court, but yeah, that's the way she played.
Her general argument was, how would I know about the laws? I don't read this gazette they are published in. Which leads to the question, Monica, you were at a protest against the laws.
The laws,
you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? You were
the ones you
protesting
broke,
against the laws? You established an organisation whose main purpose was to oppose the laws, these COVID laws.
That you didn't know about. That didn't know existed.
In the end, I just got don't know about the laws.
Oh, no.
Solid work. She also quite openly admitted that she broke the laws, which makes it baffling why she didn't plead guilty. Well, it's not baffling, really. A guilty plea would have saved the court time and money, but she wouldn't have been able to grandstand for idiot followers and use it to get donations. Classic Monica. And also type the cause so they can't deal with terrible people.
Yeah, actual crime.
And put terrible people away.
Actual problems and actual issues between parties. Genuine civil cases that have, the whole thing of livelihoods. Well, some people's livelihoods do rely on court case outcomes, and you are delaying them because you're a selfish fucking prat.
Con artist, yeah.
And look, she kind of won anyway. She was found guilty.
Well, it's always going to be that way because of time served, yeah.
Well, yeah, and look, she actually, during the court case, said not to consider the time served and then spent quite a lot of time explaining why the time served should be considered. Maybe someone tapped her on the shoulder and went, "Oi, you did time on this. Maybe you should have that considered, you fucking idiot."
Even Reignite Legal know that.
Oh, man. I think she had like a Mackenzie friend, they said, like a amicus curiae in the friend of the court in there.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that was like her like in-house lawyer pretending not to be a lawyer for the sake of her being the center of attention. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. I had to work on the day when she did this. Join Patreon, so I don't have to do that ever again. Anyway, look, during court, she put on these crocodile tears and started trying to pull off these little Braveheart speeches. But you know what it sounded like. Just listen to her voice in your head. I can't obviously broadcast the court case on here. Otherwise, I'll wind up in court just like she did.
You end up charged like my mum.
Like Monica did, yeah. But she was speaking in circles and just boring the shit out of the magistrate who had to sort of, interfere.
He'll just say, look, anything to stop, I'll give you a non-custodial sentence. I just want you to stop.
Yeah, I won't record a conviction. Just fucking go away. But, of course, Teflon Mon got away with it as per usual, and people clapped in court because they're fucking basic. It wasn't as much of a clown show as I expected. I was expecting the followers to be more sort of annoying, but that's like just from the audio. I'm sure they were playing with their phones.
How many there? Guess how many people were there?
I don't know. I couldn't see from the video.
Smattering.
Yeah. No, I think it was probably pretty full. She could draw a crowd. Her followers are largely unemployed.
Yeah, that's true. After her win in that court, she went to another court to face charges for recording another court appearance and posting it on social media. Her whole life is just fucking courts. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to film and then just go, hey, by the way, this happened to me today.
Yeah, how cool is this? Check out this judge's face.
I know, yeah. Now let's just publish the details of victims and accused people and so forth.
I mean, while we're at it,
look, that case has been adjourned till later this year. European trip permitting. But in a fucking hilarious moment that surprises nobody, one of her dopey followers took a photo of her in court and uploaded it to her Facebook page. Oh, Christ. She might be in shit as the publisher for that one. But honestly, the police might be bored of charging her. She must know the Brewster at the Magistrates Court in Melbourne by name at this point.
You'd fucking think so.
Hello, flat white, 2 sugars.
She will be facing her next hearing from somewhere in Europe. Apparently, that's all lined up. It could be Portugal. It could be the Netherlands. It could be Poland. I don't know. It's a long trip. She's got to be going to a few places. Either way, she's going to come back with a nice tan and no money. So expect some desperate emails full of fibs, nonsense about freedom, and appeals for money. Rinse, repeat. Yep. The fucking usual.
And finally, in other cooker news, Vic Pole finally decided that a drag queen story time could go ahead in Eltham, jacked inside his old stomping ground.
Oh, really?
20 kilometres north of the Melbourne CBD.
Yeah, I had to go. I don't know where that place is.
It happened at a library. I think it would be the Eltham Municipal Library, Joel, but there'd be a number of them there.
Something like that. No idea. There were children there. They had fun. Stories were told. There were bubbles. Dancing happened. Cookers were there.
Cookers arrived.
Cops held them back from the event. They yelled randomly through megaphones at a group called Community Rainbow Angels, who basically played distraction and created a wall between the children, the parents, and the drag performer, and these unwashed, filthy fucks across the road. And look, this is a group that went there to take jeers and abuse from angry idiots with no meaning in life. Yeah. So good on them. Good on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic
and at the end of it, they had to escort people out. These angel characters escorted people out because cookers were in the fucking car park being loud parasites and harassing people. Despite this, children managed to still have fun. Despite the scary people out the back being fucking loud lunatics, holding signs, and aggressively attacking everyone involved. There was this little blonde kid at the front who was having a fucking great time. There's a video of her and she's just squealing and dancing and shit. Fucking great. But imagine, okay, so we've got Frock Hudson up the front there in this ridiculous frock telling stories to children. Imagine if they got that dirty fucking oaf Brad to their read a story to the kids. Their noses would burn. Their septums would deviate.
Wouldn't he be terrific? He'd be terrific, Ralphie Babet, wouldn't he?
No.
Basically, the jury's still out on whether he can read.
Honestly, these people are fucking morons. But these are questions, they're not answers. Let's face it. We don't know what's going to happen in conservative story time, or whether some cook or fuckwit like Brad is going to try and do this, or whether Babbitt's actually going to pull off an event. But God, I'm not going to be surprised if he does. Anyway, whenever dipshits would yell into these megaphones, the crowd would just erupt in cheers. And you hear these videos where basically there's just all this great white noise every time they say some homophobic bullshit in a fucking car park. But you've got these people screaming into megaphones, which would be pretty scary for children. And they had to set up a huge perimeter to protect children from these scary interlopers.
Yeah.
But let's face it, we know this was never about children, and it never actually will be. This is imported bigotry from the US perpetrated by fucking mindless sheep who are following orders from yank conspiracy theorists pushing a right-wing agenda to please their donors and funders because you're all fucking zombies. Absolute pack of cunts. But they lost this one. They've won a bunch, no doubt. They've had all these events cancelled, partially thanks to a spineless government and a weak Vic poll. But today, they lost, and they lost big time.
I don't understand what you mean there. I think the police haven't done a bad job, and I can't see how...
They cancel events.
And that
fucking sucks.
Well, but they cancel events because they're not safe for children. They have to risk assess it.
Yeah, look.
They have to risk assess it.
I'm in two minds.
I don't know how it would make anyone feel better about this if a kid was assaulted or traumatised at one of these events.
I know. And that is a fair...
that's where it is. I wouldn't call Vic Poll weak. What's weak here is the people like Brad, fucking have a shower, Brad, who basically impose themselves on children. This is the problem.
I totally agree.
They are imposing themselves on children, and they are seeking to make children feel frightened and intimidated and ultimately traumatized.
Yeah, and make sure that their association with any kind of LGBTIQA causes is problematic and scary. And that really is the ultimate goal for these people. I would say the issue with Vic Poll is that in a situation like this, they were very successful at keeping the cookers away, and they've cancelled a lot of events in a situation where they could have feasibly allocated resources to make it happen. I know it kind of sucks. I know it's a burden on the system, and I do get the fact that you've got to balance these things out in risk assessment.
Where did you get spineless government from? Because, I mean...
Dan Andrews is all talk, man.
But what is a government supposed to do over a local government issue, a local government event?
You're not wrong. What I will say is that Dan Andrews loves to talk about his real allyship with the trans community and just LGBTQIA in general.
Well,
and then when these events are cancelled,
he's spoken better and with more courage than any politician in the country.
That is fair.
Everyone.
That is fair. And when I'm saying it's all talk, when you think about it, very rarely do you even get talk. So I will grant you that. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
It's not a question of granting it. It's basically is Dan Andrews got the politics right? Yes. Is he outspoken about this? Yes. Does he have the ability to call in the Wallopers? Does he have the ability to call in the army? Of course not.
Yeah, no,
we
right.
understand the doctrine of separation of powers
right,
here, don't we? How that all works.
You're right.
I don't think spineless government really works here. I mean,
that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, basically, this will be resolved by communities. It
and that's how it's happened. With these
really,
angels.
Those communities need to get out there and say, listen, pal, you don't live here, Brad and your fucking dumbass followers. You don't live here. You don't represent these people, and we want you out. You are scaring children, and we want you gone.
Yeah. No, you've got me. No, I feel you. I absolutely feel on that, and that's quite right. I think maybe I've just been peeled by Greens on Twitter. I think that may be, and you're right.
Fucking Greens.
Dan Andrews can't fucking order the military into fucking, patrol drag queen story time. You're right. I've been killed by Greens. Oh, look.
Organise a tram strike? I mean, what do you expect me to do?
Yeah, no, you're right. There is separation of powers. You can make a phone call, but you can't make a phone call.
You can't make that phone call. You actually can't. Well, you can, but you'll be ignored by the police. You should rightly be ignored. No, valid. Anyway, I will get on one thing I think we can agree on, which is the performer, Frock Hudson, very funny, deserves a fucking bravery medal for turning up despite these threats of violence from these champion work, Frock.
Absolutely. Just get Frock, guys. And of course, one thing we have to sort of celebrate yet commiserate is that Stinky Brad was there, and he has apparently given Canberra a reprieve from his presence, which means that he's moved back to Melbourne. Sucked in, guys. Just when you thought he was going to asphyxiate a glad rat tomb on the grass of Parliament, he comes back to stink up your precious trams. Imagine standing next to him on a fucking tram.
Oh
my God.
He's got a cheese. Now that Dan should be able to pick up the phone and just get a truck around there just to get Brad, just hose him down with a big soapy brush.
I do feel like that
and
might
just
be...
get the hose on him. Just get the hose on him.
Yeah, legislate that. I'm cool with that. That makes sense. So other events went ahead with less attention, including one in Northcote, and they also happened over in Perth, which on face value is less pill than Melbourne. But Cam Smith tweeted this.
Caught some live stream of the protest against a library story time in Perth today. One of the anti-LGBT protesters is yelling at another about him bashing his wife and kids. Not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing, except to say moral standards amongst
so
the anti-LGBT
protesters
is not really all that high. I recognised another one as a neo-Nazi who is an actual real-life pedophile. This is still coming from Cam. Good job, chaps. Kids saved.
Oh, yeah, kids saved. 100%. Well done,
Cam.
That is fucking pathetic. And this comes with reports, and I say this with a lot of distance from it.
No, they're going to come.
That kiddie groomers and fiddlers are indeed being spotted in freedom groups, including my place. And I'm not going to mention details. Maybe there'll be more in the post later. But let's just say there are very, very reliable reports of people that abuse children and groom them for their sexual gratification in these groups.
Hello.
So if you want to fucking save the kids, you cunts, how about you vet people in your clubs? You cooker parasites.
Try work.
Jesus.
Just try a work with children.
See who passes.
And all the people in your group before you send them out to fucking libraries and public spaces where children
harass
are.
people you've never met and you don't understand.
That would mean that you've had no trouble with the law in regard to children, no problem with violent offending, and that would also mean that that you've got particular issues. There's never been any serious allegation of any serious assault, physical assault or verbal assault on children.
Yeah, let's see how many pass.
Yeah.
We fired you, we sacked you, we dismissed you as what? As garbage, because that's all you are. You're a criminal, you're a traitor, and you're going to the biggest barbecue in history. So from Christmas dinner to you are the dinner.
Thank you, that's what I'll go with.
Cars are for driving and not registering or licensing to driving. That's what the soft sits reckon, and who's to say they're wrong?
They're travelling, they're never driving, they're always travelling.
They're on a journey. Besides the Traffic and Highway Patrol Command, New South Wales Police Force, that is.
Who have no jurisdiction.
We want to thank patron Andrew from Tasmania for this because it made us laugh.
Yes, it did. It is very good.
Now, there you are, minding your own business at 9:15 in the morning in a busy start of the day where you're trying to get your kids late to school so they can learn to be transsexuals and pedos when they get older, when the wallet was pulled you over for a breatho.
Oh, no.
This happened to an unfortunate 46-year-old Nambucca Heights man driving what I can only guess is a 1995 Toyota Estima. I think it's a seven-seater, a people mover, a fine chariot, perfectly engineered for years on the road without so much as an oil change or the installation of child restraints. Who else but the pedo government wants your kids restrained? That's how Hillary likes her kids tortured, by the way. Restrained, in bondage.
It's how you get the good stuff. It's not her fault. She needs it.
A quick check of the vehicle revealed it hadn't been registered for 18 years.
18?
The 36-year-old man was issued with failure to produce licence, failure to pay CTP insurance, and failure to display his P-plates.
18 years, like he's got a return on investment on that. He's basically broke even. Easily.
He's got the P-plates on and he's 46.
That's great.
That's a problem. All this, of course, while going about his business in a sleek machine with the words, "We never elect our Gumbayang save 8."
Okay.
Did you? I mean, I read the paint, and
yes, it's a long word.
It took a long time to figure out. Well, it's just someone can't spell government.
That's a people from the mid-north coast of New South Wales, but somehow that's. You never elect your traditional custodians of the land, save 8? I don't know. This is clearly a delusional person.
I think probably Dad might have been getting kids into school a little bit late, just when they'd finished their spelling, because they whoever was painting on the cars, not great with the literacy.
No. No, it's a tricky one. It's mixing up the idea of government and traditional owners of land and swooshing it together and turning into subset nonsense that honestly even would baffle locals. People like something never seeded, but like, what the fuck are you on about?
Then driving around in it in a way that people go, what is that word? And you can't, it's drawing attention to this is a car that's been registered for 20 years.
It's not good. It's not good.
When asked to explain himself, the man, a sovereign man, who had been pulled over in the same unregistered vehicle 3 times in the previous 2 months, played the sausage card to no immediate effect.
Oh,
it's all about the jurisdiction and certainly the self-evident truth found in the 17th century Portuguese maritime law, along with the Australia Act, the Constitution, but which won, and that Richie Benno was one of the 26 secret pedals the Freemason government doesn't want us to know about.
That always really pissed me off.
There's your defence right there.
It's so upsetting.
If the van is a rockin', don't bother knocking because the van has been forfeited to the Crown. Maybe Prince Andrew is in there on the job.
No.
We don't know, and frankly, we don't want to know.
Not that Crown. Don't forfeit to that Crown.
We're going to take a quick look at the scoreboard, and it's the man 0, Sovsit about $2,500.
Yeah.
That's what the fines add up to, including another 300 or so for having one of the 3 young children in the car unrestrained.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, Sovsits, will you ever win?
I'm a staunch patriot. I love our country. I love our freedoms. I love that in Australia you can be anything that you want to be. There is nothing and no one stopping you from achieving your hopes, your aspirations, and your dreams.
It has been an utterly boring week in Pete Evans.
Boring.
Absolute same old shit as ever. Tucker Carlson, even though he's not even on Fox News anymore. And Bitcoin, and vaccines, and Trump. And endless simping for Elon Musk, which is kind of new but not really, which is just mostly shares from full-blown QAnon accounts. So this week, Pete was neither funny nor interesting.
No.
Fuck
Go
him.
on, Pete.
But Babet put his big boy pants on and did a budget reply speech. And we would be remiss if we did not point and laugh at his pathetic attempts to understand economics and be taken seriously in the chamber.
For those perhaps not across a lot of the parliamentary protocols, there is a budget handed down by the Federal Treasurer. There is a budget in reply handed down, which is really just a political document, handed down in a speech by the Leader of the Opposition.
That's right.
And that's pretty much where it ends.
There
are no other budgets in reply.
No.
The Greens don't make them. The crossbenchers don't make them.
Nope.
Except for Babs.
Ralph Babet does.
Ralph Babet does a budget in reply.
Bless his fucking heart, he's a goddamn moron. So while Babet has done his best to cement his role in the sort of circus sideshow part of the Senate chamber by fixating on drag queen story time and worrying a lot about other people's children, he calls them our children, he has also taken a moment out of his busy schedule of retweeting Rebel News videos to humour us with his bizarre idea of conservative economics. I'm sure he didn't write this. That is not an endorsement. So he starts off saying that inflation is a tax.
What?
And this is a dopey theory that is bandied around by conservative blowhards to say that when inflation increases consumer prices, it therefore increases taxation due to sales taxes. This increase in revenue is seen as theft by people like fucking Babet because unironically, they take a salary from taxpayers yet hate government and think taxation is theft as a principle.
Everyone but him. Yeah.
Moron. So I don't even know if Babet has thought this through at all. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And let's just say he has. Let's just say he has.
I'm not giving him any benefit. I'm going to say he hasn't thought this through.
We've played good cop, bad cop today. I've been good cop. You've been bad cop. That's cool. It checks out. For starters, unsurprisingly, he doesn't offer a solution. So maybe taxes should be reduced to account for the increased revenue from inflation. Fair enough. And he does kind of touch on that later in a way
inflationary. Anyway.
Doesn't really make any sense. This, of course, creates inflationary pressure due to an increase in disposable income, which then fuels aggregate demand in a time of global shortage, which then apparently increases, according to Freemanite bullshit economics, that has
it's perfectly
inflationary impacts.
sensible. Boom, your inflation rate goes through the roof.
I got issues with orthodox economics because I'm a
people in break-even circumstances veer into poverty. That's what happens.
Well, so look, it's just all a bit too hard for Babet, but he doesn't have to worry about this, so he's fine. We have, thank Christ, a real estate agent in there who can just talk shit with absolutely no substance or reasoning. Because he has the confidence of a drunk 5-year-old and the economic wisdom of a carrot.
Yes, well said.
A carrot that is going up in price and he can't even stop it. It hasn't, though. Carrots have basically stayed the same. He wants less spending, but he can't really articulate why and how or where. He is upset that we are subsidising industry to the tune of $450 million, apparently. That sounds low.
Ooh. What,
cool.
Has he run this past Clive?
Yeah.
Because we're talking diesel rebate now?
Yeah. Isn't that how your Uncle Clive got rich? Isn't that how you got into the Senate? Subsidies?
You sure you've been talking to Clive? Because Clive might want to have a word with you. Clive is overseas, I believe.
Hopefully he didn't see the budget reply from fucking his idiot fucking $15 million son. So look, he's not happy about reducing emissions because he doesn't believe in climate change. Why? Well, he probably watched some videos on Rumble. Babet is a perfect example of a mark for Heartland Institute climate change denial content because he's a fucking moron. That shit speaks directly to him.
He's a scientist.
He's the target audience. He just happens to be in the Senate.
You fucking moron, Ralphie.
You really
are a fucking dumb cunt.
I'd love to be in the Senate, and he's there, and that burns, I'm sure, more than one of our listeners. And, of course, sending aid to Ukraine to the tune of $360 million has got him upset. Because you can rely on fucking Ralph Babet, Mr. fucking Rumble Video Supreme, to be Putin-pilled. There's no surprises. He's just a gullible moron.
Yeah, he loves Putin.
Idiot.
He loves a hard man, Joel.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
He's a freedom guy who loves tyrants.
Of course.
This little boner in his big boy trousers every time he sees a tyrant. I saw him on Twitter not so long back, and he was demanding that the minimum wage, which is set by an industrial tribunal, the Fair Work Commission, the minimum wage be determined only in direct negotiations between an employee and an employer.
What could possibly go wrong?
And that collective bargaining was out as well. So he's a freedom guy who believes in restricting freedoms of association and movement. What a fuckwit.
Yeah, no, he's a fucker. So, look, he is happy that the budget is in surplus.
No.
Credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
But then he bitches that it might not be in surplus next year. Oh. But don't worry, guys, don't worry. He'll be giving us another budget reply in 12 months.
I bet he doesn't, Clive Money said, what are you going to do with the fucking diesel rebate?
Yeah,
we
shut
want
the
that.
fuck up about... And where did he get $450 million from? It's got to be in the billions easily. Anyway.
Yeah, it's heaps more than that. It's
billions.
It's heaps
I didn't
more
bother
than
looking for the real number because, at this point, we're just basically...
It's not important.
Yeah, we're picking over the cook remains of a moron. Yeah, fuck that.
He's just pulled the trousers up and had a go.
Exactly. And look, bless him. He's doing what he can within his limited means. So Babet wants the debt repaid, which is fair enough. Easy to say when you don't actually understand the economic return on spending and the implications of budget measures. You could just sort of blow V8 for your weird cooker support base on social media, and you have absolutely no responsibility whatsoever other than
you don't understand economics. You could barely read a profit and loss statement. And also, Joel, one of the reasons that the budget is in surplus is because a lot through PAYG contributions, and near enough to full employment, that the government spends less, $86 billion less in interest on its borrowings.
Yeah.
So all these things, he just doesn't seem to understand any of this stuff.
He's a fucking idiot. That's the issue. Now, he is also worried about bracket creep. So what happens when wages go up? You get taxed more. Well done, Beach.
Yes,
now, the idea,
progressive taxation system.
The idea is you get taxed more as your wages go up, but you get less for it. And I see the logic behind this, but it's not universally true, and it's actually kind of basic. Now, I'm sure that people are spewing they got a raise at work. My boss is going to give me more money. He said I'm a star performer. This is the pits. And they're going to withhold taxes. Damn, I'm going to make more money. This fucking blows. He's suggesting we should have a system of tax indexation which changes tax brackets according to inflation. Now, I get where you're coming from here, Babet, but hear me out. What you're actually trying to do is sneak in tax cuts to reduce the size of government because that's what your ideological masters have convinced you is the right thing to do, but you don't actually have beliefs or any theory whatsoever.
Well,
if this happens...
And no money. No money.
No money. He doesn't have any money to worry about. Oh, well, he's in a high salary now.
No. I mean, he has no understanding of the broad parameters of the budget.
No.
So he doesn't have any understanding that if we reduce spending in this particular way, we will, if we go into debt reservicing, we will have less interest to pay on our borrowings, and therefore we can spend that money in ways that, we can all argue about whether that's right or wrong. Labor did certain things. The Greens want to do a bit more, and rental crisis and rental freezes and all that sort of stuff. But in the end, what's your pool of money comes from tax, comes essentially from PAYG, comes from company tax, comes from capital gains tax, GST, which is actually passed on to the states pretty much directly on a formula. And so that's what you're going to work with. That's what you've got to work with. And you can fucking twiddle with fucking the progressive tax system as much as you like, but you won't make too much indents there. The only way that you can do this is to basically boost up in order to people like Clive, have them paying maybe a couple of billion in tax every year.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
And they wouldn't they'd be living in the Caribbean before you knew it,
I fucking hope so. But at the end of the day, this is actually perpetuating inflation, because instead of combating inflation
yes, it is.
with certain
inflation.
macroeconomic measures, what you're doing is you're reducing tax brackets to create a higher demand, which then creates higher pressures on a strained economy, which then creates higher prices due to supply and demand curves.
Yeah, it's an inflationary cycle that ends up in an economy just going into flames.
Well, yeah, it turns into Zimbabwe. So basically his plan is to turn Australia into Zimbabwe, but not only that, the CPAs, the fucking entire accounting sector are like, oh, what? Do you want to change tax brackets? What, every week, every month? Are you fucking serious? Shut the fuck up, Babet. Shut the fuck up.
Fuck up, you moron. You fucking idiot. With your stupid fucking pinhead haircut. Shut the fuck up, you dumb cunt.
And I get it. I get why he thinks this is a good idea. But I also get the fact that a lot of people believed in, say, Milton Friedman. And how'd that go for them? It didn't go well. He really did not go well as an economic advisor.
Don't put Babs and Milton Friedman in the same sentence.
Look, this is where a lot of his bullshit's coming from. But anyway, I'm just going to say here that Babet is generally upset by the budget because there's too much spending on things he doesn't like, which is everything that he isn't included in, like renewable energy, for example. He doesn't believe in climate change. And, well, I mean, this one's really important. And for a single man like Babet, it really hits home. Being his parents' house, because not enough is
imaginary children, and now he's got an imaginary wife, and they have an imaginary family.
100%, he's obsessed with families and doesn't have one. It's so fucking hilarious because he's so absolutely insufferable that no one will ever settle down with him. He will never be married unless someone is genuinely desperate, and it'll be reasons that are so terrifying that I'm sure he'll take advantage of them, and I don't like that. Anyway. He is really, really worried about the most persecuted and neglected part of the economy, the family unit. Here's his fucking ridiculous part of his speech about families.
He's photoshopped. He's got a photo on his desk with a photoshopped wife and children.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me for a second. Anyway,
this is what he had to say about families. Being a family man himself, average families. Well, they're just average, are they? They're just, they're not outstanding families. They're just average families.
No, they must be shot.
They are forgotten people in our nation. What? It wasn't that long ago that a single income family could own a home, go on an annual holiday. How much income are we talking here?
I know. It gets
Babsy,
better.
your old son, and also buy a new car every few years or so. So every few years is how many years? Every few years?
That's 3.
Anyway,
that's 3 fucking years.
And also buy a new car every few years or so. Now those days, they're gone. They're over.
Remember when everyone drove a late model car and just cycled it at will, like bought new cars all the time? I don't remember that. Even my rich mates on the beaches, some were pretty fucking high value, and they didn't have new cars every 3 years, you delusional fuck. Look, maybe Babet was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I'm not completely sure. I think it's actually he's a delusional idiot who has been convinced by conservative commentators that life was better in the good old days for reasons that he just kind of fucking made up.
The good old days when he wasn't born.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, since when was it so easy to get by? You just would casually buy new cars on the regular. What, 1992? Oh, it's got a new Toyota.
The 50s were great. I just wish I was alive during the 50s.
Well, I had a new car every week in the 50s. Yeah, I beat the shit out of my wife. It was fucking great. You know what? I just want to get to the kicker on this. All of this is on one income. Yes, that's right, folks. Women should stay at home and raise the children and not have careers. Their idea of careers is actually a bit of a threat to the fabric of society. I wish I was kidding about that, and I'm fucking not. Check his Twitter feed. His proposal is to create a combined tax bracket, which would mean a single income family have their primary salary split over 2 brackets. I get that. Honestly, it'd work for me. This makes more money than me. We could subsidize her tax breaks, her tax thing. But you know what? I have a career too. Incentivizing women to leave the workforce is fucking insane. This guy is cooked.
Yeah. I mean,
why would you be like,
if you even asked this guy what he meant by that, he would just basically collapse before your eyes.
It would be all about traditional values.
He would not be able to understand, the sort of social consequences of what he's proposing.
He would treat you like a 30-something couple walking through a 3-bedroom unit in fucking Eltham. That would be how he would behave. Because he is just a fucking sales jock. But I tell you what, at the end of the day, he's good. He went on blah, blah, small government, blah, blah, socialism, and he mentioned globalists in there, around the middle.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, he got the globalists in. So that's my completely unnecessary budget reply to Babet's completely unnecessary budget reply.
No, it's budget in reply.
Budget in reply. Well, I am in reply by saying you're a huge cunt who wants to cut spending, but somehow create an economy where single income families own houses, buy cars like fucking hot lunches, and women stay at home where they belong.
Yeah.
I mean, you just simply cannot take this clown seriously. But one thing is for sure. He is not getting smarter, but he is absolutely getting funnier. Despite Pete being a humorless wet blanket of a human being, Babet should keep the tail end of this program going for some fucking time.
Love your work, Babs.
Thanks, Babs. Appreciate your work.
Bastard.
Good guy.
And you have been listening to the Conditional Release program with your host, Jack the Insider and Joel Hill. Jack can be found on Twitter on @Jack the Insider and Joel on @CrunchyMoses with a K. We've set up a Facebook page, which you can find fairly easily. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it on social media. And as we said at the front of the program, we have a Patreon to help keep this program sustainable. It's bloody time consuming, and we still have to pay the rent. Help keep the lights on, and we need them. It's dark outside.
It is. It's cold. For as little as $5 a month, you'll have access to all sorts of bonus content. We'll probably do an episode tomorrow for the patrons. Look, there's a lot to deal with, but it's not.
There's a fair bit there.
Yeah, so we do a premium episode weekly, and we try and make it worth your while. It's worth $5. Come on.
Yes. And finally, all feedback, tips, and death threats should be sent to theconditionalreleaseprogram@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, even if it's to tell us that Ralph Babet has defunded you and you have to go and live with his gran in Mauritius.
She's got space. I'm sure she cooks really nicely. Thanks, listeners. See you next time.
See ya.
I don't think I ever want to talk to any of those people.
Fuck me, you guys are bastards.